I'm here. I'm live. We're live. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on All Access Network TV. And we're live. I'm barely live. I had to move a big French two-door refrigerator today. Had to empty a chest freezer, full-size 5-foot long chest freezer. Had to pull a couple of bodies that I had on ice out of it to move it. Put the bodies back in, of course, so nobody can find them till I feed them to the alligator down the street. And to all of y'all who don't know it, yes, I live on the longest, very close to the longest bayou on the planet, Bartholomew Bayou, and there's a gator in it. And that's how we dispose of dead bodies around here. So, that's the way it is around here. Anyway, we're not all like Yellowstone where we got an empty state next to us. Texas doesn't bow too well when you take a bunch of dead Arkansans over there and dump them somewhere in Texas. They don't like that. So we're not like that. We don't have a train station we take them to out in a gully in the middle of nowhere. But we do have an alligator, and that takes care of business. Anyway, we are live. Good to be live. To all of y'all watching in the future and record it, send me some lottery numbers. But all y'all watch it live, all the countries around the world, all the ships at sea, welcome to the Southern Fried Paranormal podcast. Let's go ahead and, since we did our intro, let's talk about some friends of ours that we have down in New Orleans. And there we are. Voices from Beyond, New Orleans Paranormal Society. Basically, Christopher and Jennifer Talley. They do have a tour group down in New Orleans. They do not show you a house and say it's haunted. They do not drag you up and down the streets and say this house is haunted, this house is haunted, this building is haunted, it's rumored to be haunted, and tell you all nice stories that some are true, some are not, about different buildings and houses. No. They take you to a haunted location, sit you down, put a piece of paranormal equipment in your hand, and say, you are on a ghost hunt. Here's the ghost. And they called the ghost by name, said, you got anything you want to say to the people? If you want a ghost experience, go ahead and flip the other picture up. Call Christopher or Jennifer Talley. There's their address, phone number. New Orleans Paranormal Society. You take a tour. If you go down to New Orleans, if you want a ghost experience, a paranormal experience, they would take you to one of several, actually two of several paranormal locations, including behind the Voodoo Shop and the Andrew Jackson Hotel. And yes, they do have it exclusive with Andrew Jackson. They'll take you there for a couple of hours, have a very haunted closet, which is actually below the most haunted room in the hotel. Although it's the whole hotel that's haunted. I have been there. I've spent 2 nights in that hotel investigating it for about 40 hours straight. Sleeping a little bit because we had a ghost in the room. It's kind of hard when you call yourself a paranormal investigator and you have a ghost in your hotel room. Say, look, dude, I got to sleep. No, I want to talk to you. Okay, let me get the voice recorder. Let's go. It's kind of hard to say no. And that's how it is at the Andrew Jackson Hotel. If your mind's open and you're open to the paranormal, you got some paranormal equipment, trust me, you will use it there. So give them a call if you're going down to New Orleans. Now, if you're going down to New Orleans for a certain Paracon, now I have not fixed this video yet. I have not had time. I am tired today from working on the house. We've been at it for 4 days this week, and tomorrow's not going to be so much work shoveling around the kitchen. We've fixed the floor in the kitchen. We've replaced one. We have a 24-foot long kitchen by 12. We replaced 1/3 of the floor, put some new cinder block columns underneath the house to hold the floor up, put new flooring down, had to move refrigerator and freezer, and disassemble our big dining room table. And now we got to put it back together and put it back in where we can eat off the table in the kitchen tomorrow. We had to pull everything out of the big deep freeze, and so we can move it. We had to shove everything from our food refrigerator into our drink refrigerator for about 3 or 4 days. And we've had a mess. We're also putting a new front door storm door on the house. And the one in the back is not on there very well. We got to finish that tomorrow. But we do have a nice front door now. And a little bit warmer house because of not having the wind and not having any kind of sound coming in through that door. So thank you, Lowe's. They have me ranked as a pro. So, I salute you. Anyway, just go ahead and play the New Orleans Paracon video, and then we'll... Oh, this is the one I did. All right, that music is Jazz Straight. They do have it on Canva, and it is available for business use. So quit blagging me on that. Good grief, guys. It's Canva music. And there's a credit for it right there in the end. Anyway, you notice John Zappas is going to be the star down there, main attraction. Our very own boss lady, Patriana Terry Brown, will also be there as a guest. We are having one special guest who doesn't do many Paracons at all. His name, you saw him on that little banner. His name is Father Sebastian. Play Father Sebastian's Bat video.
影が迫り来る招かさる感情真空の逆流に私は酔いしれた心臓から
All right. Speaking of Patriana Terry Brown, she just said, hello, Len. Hello back. As I guess would say, how you doing? How you doing? And of course, I say, how y'all? Anyway, let's go ahead and open the door on this show. Then we'll bring our guests right on out. right. Are we ready to bring our guest out? Is the guest ready to come out? Anthony, are you ready? Let's bring on out Anthony Simonelli.
How you doing, everybody? Hey, how's that? Hey, how you doing?
Hey. See, I can't run a comb up through my hair like Fonzie used to. Say, hey.
Yeah, well, your hair has to be a little back further than if you were doing a Fonzarelli, you know?
Yeah. A little bit shorter and stacked all on top.
So, I just don't mind the tail these days because, top's gone. I still keep the length, but tail,
How have you been doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing? How's everything good?
Oh yeah, everything's better. Getting some work done in the house. We've redone some of the outside, redoing some of the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Built me a workroom.
Yeah. Well, I heard you had some bodies in the refrigerator. Make sure you get the nice deep lake and you sink it. Put some holes in it so it goes down. You know what I'm saying?
Right. What I like to do is get some nylon rope and get a cinder block. Half a cinder block.
Mm-hmm.
Tie one around the neck, one around the ankles. Throw them in the bayou and let the gator have dinner.
That's a good idea. Throw them in the pond. But it's cheaper to get a little cement around their feet and give them new shoes. You know what I'm saying?
Are you talking about concrete overshoes?
New pair of shoes. That's all. Sleeping with the fishes. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Is that cement galoshes or concrete overshoes?
Yeah, whatever you want to call them. Yeah. They work the same either way.
Christy Richo, hey, g'day, mate.
Air holes. Yeah, you can put air holes in the doors too. There's many ways.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've been busy around here, especially this week, where we had to get some stuff done so we could lock the house up properly, so we could go down to New Orleans because we are going to be down there talking with Paula Sebastian and, of course, the other named guest, which should be a real party down there in New Orleans.
Yeah, a bunch of those guests I know who and I was like John and I haven't been investigations with them and everything. So yeah, I was asked by a couple of them to come down, but I just couldn't make it. Pick and choose sometimes. New Orleans is a little distance for me, so
yeah, that's a long way for you to travel.
Yeah. It's not like I can just jump in the car and drive for 7-8 hours. That's a couple day trip for me down there.
Yeah, you had to stop over because you'd be driving all day. You had to spend the night in the hotel somewhere.
Yeah, and that's kind of trip. That's a Red Bull trip. Just one after another just to get down. Yeah.
Well, see, I'm down here in Southeast Louisiana. I'm about 6.5 hours away from where I'm sitting.
Okay, so 6 hour ride's not bad. I've done those, drove through, but New Orleans, and I always been wanted. That's one of the places to get down to for me, and that's one of the places I would love to get down there, and then also in New Orleans, you got the Myrtle Plantation. That's one of my biggest bucket lists to get down there just to do that.
So you can come down early, and about the thing I was talking to somebody last week. That's what they want to do next year, is come down a little bit early, go to Myrtle's on say Wednesday, come spend the night in the destination hotel, wake up Thursday, goof around a little bit in the quarter, and Friday the Paracon opens up.
Yeah, maybe next year I could swing it. I'm in about 4 or 5 different Paracons this year. Plus, I'm doing other things between investigations and talks. We do a lot of talking. I do a lot of um, fundraisers and stuff like that too. So I do a lot of talking. I do a lot of speaking. So yeah, and of course I gotta get my investigations in there. You know, that's what it's all about. You know,
Mhm.
yeah. So
You just bring your appetite when you come down to New Orleans.
does it look like I don't bring my appetite anywhere? My appetite follows me like a puppy dog. You know what I'm saying?
I know that feeling.
One thing. I mean, you have to have cannolis. You have cannolis down there. That's my favorite.
Cannolis,
Cannolis, yeah, real cannolis.
or as the girl says in the Liberty Mutual commercial, cannolis.
Cannolis, yeah, yeah. Cannolis, hey.
down
Yeah.
down there they have beignets.
Beignets.
Yes.
There's cheese in them.
Noticed a whole lot of powdered sugar,
Okay, so okay. So it's like a
and
Zeppelin.
you get it all over. You do not sneeze if you're eating a beignet.
Yeah.
You'll get powdered sugar over you, whoever you're with, the table next to where you're sitting.
Yeah. You walk around, the cops look at you and say, "Hey, what's all over you? It's powdered sugar, I swear."
Yeah, down there you can walk around the beignet shops and you can have cocaine all over your face and all over your shirt. I just had a beignet, dude.
That's all. Hey, yeah, that's what I had.
By the way, that there are two rules that Gwen likes to go by: no politics, and we don't do cocaine on camera.
All right, so give me a break.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, no, politics I don't do. I don't do. You know, it's about the paranormal. Hey, no politics in the paranormal.
Nope,
No,
the ghosts don't care.
yeah, ghosts don't care really. You know, they're dead. Well, then again, they may. Who knows? Depending where you're doing investigation, what battlefield you're on doing investigation, and what soldiers during the Revolutionary War that or, you know, the Civil War, you know, you actually meeting, you know, so you know, so it's
You ever go to any of the Civil War battlefields?
Gettysburg. I could go there a lot. We used to go there a lot, you know, and Gettysburg is like a candy store for the paranormal. It's like you're going to get something. Plus, I do the battlefield bash every year also, so I get to go out there, and the battlefield is, you get so much. I remember my first started going out there was like 2008, and we get down. My brother was going there, and I'm like, yeah, I want to go to Gettysburg and see if I get something on the camera. You know, get something. You know, some you know, evidence. And that's before all the equipment became big like now. Back then, I was buying equipment from Home Depot or a local hardware store. That's where we used to get all our equipment from back then. And I remember we went to the peach orchard, and the sun was down, and there's a big moon, and I'm walking up this hill with my brother, and I'm like, and I look, I see a soldier walking off the battlefield, and the full moon was there, and it's like you walk like past the full moon, and all of a sudden just vanished. And it was weird because he was walking with his head down, and the butt of his gun was on his shoulder, and the barrel was down. So he was like, he had no more bullets or whatever. And he was walking off the battlefield, and you could see he had the equipment. I just seen the silhouette of the equipment and everything, and he disappeared. So I was like, and I was like, I was jumping up and down like a kid in a candy store, like, this is what I came here for. This is what I came here for. I'm jumping up and down. It's like, yeah, this is what I came here for. And that's when I started getting to more of the equipments and stuff like that. But back then I was, you know, everything was in regular stores and everything. I was buying a lot of the equipment, you know. So it was an interesting night. you know, then we stayed at the Farnsworth, and we had activity there, and it was like, and then I was going like twice a year from 2008 to about maybe 2014, 15, and we were staying in the Farnsworth and Jenny Pierce, the Tilly Pierce house, and it was so much activity we got between those times. It was like really building up for all our stuff, you know. So it was a very good time, you know, back then. And that's when the paranormal started getting accepted by society, more or less, because not till the TV shows came out, nobody really, you weren't allowed to talk about it. If you did, the people looked at you with like a twisted face and
Yes.
like, what are you doing? And
Look at you like when talking to the dog.
yeah, it's like, and you can see as you talk to them, they're like their face or making faces. To this day, I get that, but not as much as I used to. I grew up in a Catholic neighborhood, and I went to Catholic school, so you weren't allowed to say anything, or if you seen something, and you know, everything was like like you're a demon. Everything was demons. It's like, it's not. You know, it's everything I did. They all criticized me and everything. So, but it didn't stop me from doing my investigations. You know, nothing stopped me. I've been doing it since I was 13 years old. So I'm about 50-year mark now doing this stuff, you know. And so I've been doing it a long time, and you know, stuff changed and new equipment came out, but I still enjoy what I do. You know, I'm with a good group of people now, and we enjoy doing stuff together. You know, so. Yeah.
What's your favorite piece of equipment?
I'm a camera person. I got night vision cameras, and now I got cameras I carry. I got body cams, which I have a vest, and I wear a body cam in the front and one on my back. You know, if you're walking down these hallways, you because every time I go to these locations, like last weekend we were at Penhurst Penitentiary, Penhurst Asylum, but it was like a school, and then they call it asylum, whatever. But it was people where they dropped off kids that were unfit, and they, you know,
Right.
they weren't part of society and everything. And so in there, the halls are pitch black, and when I'm walking with my camera, I got just that 2-inch screen in front of me. You know, everything else is black, and I got the body cam and the back cam, and you're walking down, you hear things. And a lot of times in these places that you go to, you're always hearing something behind you, and by the time you turn, it's gone. Especially if you're in the dark. So now I got my camera and I review it, and so see if anything's back there. So it's I'm a camera person because I feel that on the camera you get the best of two worlds. You get the EVPs and you get the vision, the see it. You know, so when you do your reviews, you could see what's going on in front of you, and if there's a noise, sometimes you could debunk a noise over because you have it on video. Because if you do like with a group of people, I know a couple of times I thought I heard somebody talking, and it's like, and I'm reviewing my video camera, and some idiot whispering. It's like, I'm like, I'm going to throw that out because I can see this person's mouth move because I got it on video. And another time I heard like a kid screaming, a sound like a girl that screamed like like, and I did a review on my camera, and it was somebody walking with sneakers, dragging their feet on the floor and doing those skate marks, but it sounded like somebody, like a person. So it was interesting, you know. But yeah, so like a piece of equipment is my video camera. You know, that's my best piece. And then if I'm going to carry another piece with me, I got the EDI meter that has a couple things in there. I carry that with me too. It's easy to carry, So so
You say you're working with a good group of people now.
Yeah.
Do you mind telling us who they are?
Well, my right hand person is Jenny Colucci. She's matter of fact, I have a podcast on the Tuesday nights, and she's one of the hosts on the show. She's always with me. Kim Gaia, she's also on my part of my podcast. I work with them. 9 Life Paranormal, Richard Marcella. There's a couple other people. I got like a group of people that what happens is when we go do stuff, everybody gets together and they're different teams because a lot of these places, they're expensive now to get in some of these locations.
Yes, they are.
I mean, if you want to do a Trans-Allegheny or West Virginia Penitentiary or it costs money. So we got you got so many people in your group and you can't afford it. So you have other groups. So we combine these groups together and go do things,
Exactly. Good plan.
Yeah, and that's we got Full Moon Paranormal. So I mean, Barefoot, and so we go do a lot of locations that way, So it's fun, and it's fun too. We get together, and we have a big dinner before before time, and I mean, being Italian, hey, that's when you people get to know each other is at the dinner table, and that's how you get to make friends and get close with people. It's at a dinner table. So, and then you go into these locations and, and then you share evidence. That's what's great about it too. Different groups you share and and there's no egos. There's nothing. It's just, we're all there for the same thing. And that's it. We're all happy,
Cool.
So
Sounds like a good group.
Yeah. Family dinners. Yeah. You go out and eat, and it's the para family, or we call them sometimes. It's like, but it's a family type of thing. And, you get together and then you go investigate afterwards. And it's good. I get my cannoli. Hey, I got my cannoli in.
Now, you mentioned the podcast. Can you tell us mainly where people can see it? Time and web address.
Yeah, well, it's on Tuesday nights. It's from 8 to 10. It's a 2-hour show. It's a live show too. We got an audience. It's called Seekers Chronicles Paranormal Historians, and our logo is where the history meets the paranormal. And we have guests every week. We talk about locations, and we talk about the history of a location, and then we also do what the haunting of a location, or whatever. Because we don't just do houses and stuff. We'll do the forest and whatever. We did it, and we have people from around the world that goes on our show too. We have people from Japan that came on. We talked about the forest out there that people off themselves. I'm not going to say the word because I don't know how they're going to be on it, but people actually off themselves there. And we have people from England, and they talk about castles and stuff. So we just don't talk about location. We talk about the history of the land also, and if a location it has activity in the land, and Kim Gaia, she's called the Ghost History Medium, and she's awesome. I could give her a picture of a location that she has no idea whether it is, or I don't tell her nothing about it, and she could read that location, and then we talk to like the owners or the caretakers or the historians of the location, and it's like, there is activity, it's known about somebody that passed away there, and she's awesome. This woman, she's awesome. And I got Jenny Colucci, like I said, she's my right hand person. She's always there for me, and we're there for each other. And she does a lot of she does the investigations and the research on a lot of these places. Plus, Kim does. She's at the historian type of also. After we find something out, and she'll find out the real history of the location too. So it's very interesting. how we do it. So it's on Tuesday nights at 8 to 10. That's Eastern time. And you can find us on ERRT Radio. That's a YouTube channel. They can find us on that, or Seekers Chronicles Paranormal Historians YouTube channel. So, and well, of course, I'm on Facebook. We put it on Facebook every week, and also every week we have a new guest and everything. And we don't just have paranormal people; we have historians, like I said, owners, caretakers, and then we have other people that other guests there with into Bigfoot and all the cryptics and UFOs, or the aliens and stuff like that. So we have a vast variety of guests coming in every week. So that'd be cool to get somebody in the audience to watch that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. And there you go. You have all the information right there, straight from the horse's mouth where he is. So go watch this podcast. You do every Tuesday night?
Every Tuesday night, yes. Every Tuesday night. We're going on 2 years now doing the show. So it's going to be fun.
I believe you got a special guest this Tuesday, don't you?
Yeah. This woman, I had to have her. She's amazing. So, Gwen Johnson. I'm calling her the wrong name. I spelled her name wrong. Now I'm calling her the wrong name. Gwen Johns. Did I say it right? Hey. Len Johns. She's going to be on. Hey, I see you in the audience too. So yeah, Yeah,
I got one of the. So you're talking about history, and you got historians on your team. Christy Richo, if Gwen will throw that back up her last post, she said, "I always go in blind."
Mm-hmm.
Do you listen to your researchers before you go into a location, or do you go in blind? Or
my researchers, my investigators like Jenny and Kim, when we go on locations, Kim goes in totally blind. They don't do the research until after the investigation. Okay, if she does a reading for somebody from a picture or just a location, she'll actually videotape it, and then we'll find out the information later on. So everything is pretty much what we don't go in. I like going in blind because I'm a spirit artist also, and spirit sketch artist, and I like to go in, and what I see is what I draw. So it's a very interesting group of people we have. So yeah.
okay, explain the spirit artist to us, please.
There's two types. My type, where I go into a location and I'm a sensitive. I've been seeing shadows and seeing things since I was about 3 years old. And I go into a location and spirits seem to come to me, or they're in a location, like in a spot in a place, and I would see them, and I end up drawing them. I try talking to them and communicate with them. A lot of times they just disappear, and then I'll draw a picture of them and show that there was something there. And some of my pictures I draw at special locations, the owner or historian stuff shows me a picture like, look, this looks like that person. Like, wow. So I don't do no research at any of these places. It's not like, I'm too lazy to do that anyway.
Hello, Morgan.
I'm just too lazy to do that. So to do I got better things to do.
Have you got any examples that you can show us of your drawings?
Yeah. I was on a podcast last night and I showed them. I hope I can show you. Okay. This is one of my worst experience I ever had. Hopefully you can see. Can you see it? There it goes. Can you see it a little better?
There we yeah. Yeah, you got a light circle there.
Yeah, that's the light from the let me see, I could do it like this way. Now you got the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see any of it?
What is that? A wagon?
It's a carriage.
A carriage? Okay.
See, over here is a carriage. This is the Hinsdale house. Some of the investigators that probably in the audience know what I'm talking about. It's up in Hinsdale, New York. Maybe I bend it. I don't know. Because you're getting the light from the. Can you see any of it or no?
Just getting a lot of reflection.
Yeah, how about that?
Well, there you go. Hold it still right there. Right there.
Yeah.
It looks like you got a baby going into the carriage.
This is one of the worst experiences I ever had. It was at the Hinsdale house. It was 2016, I think it was. And we were at the Hinsdale house. Hinsdale house is very small farmhouse type of thing. It's a little farmhouse. You walk into the place, and then you walk into a kitchen, and then over to the as you turn to your left, the left of there's an entrance to like an area where everybody sat down. There's couches in there, like a little living room type of area. And then over to the right is like a little room that goes underneath the staircase. That goes up from the kitchen up. Well, I had a camera there. You see? Okay. I had a camera in the corner between that little area where that little room is and the living room, and the camera was facing outward towards a door and everything. All of a sudden, I heard the camera click. Now, in 2016, we didn't have these digital cameras. All my cameras were cassettes. They were nice size cassettes, and the DVR cameras with the cassettes. So it was shut off, and I was like, what happened? How did that shut off? Because it's actually a switch they have to shut it off with. And it shut off, and everybody's like, wow, they were sitting in there. We're just taking a break at that time. I'm going to take this down. You want us to look at it? Or? And
you can finally got it at the right angle. I can see it plainly.
Did you see it?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
The human figure without a face, to me, it looked like.
Yeah. Well, what happened was I go over to my camera and I'm saying, why is my camera shut off? It's like, and then I switch it back on. It went back on. It's like, I thought maybe the battery died or something, and it didn't. So I switch it back on, and as I'm doing that, I feel like a cold feeling behind me. This was in August, so no cold breeze or nothing is there. So I feel cold like on my left side. So I'm like, this is crazy. So my friend Joe was across the room, and he had those the thermo type of meter thermometer type thing with the laser, and he shoots it back behind me. He goes, the temperature's dropping behind you really fast. So, and I said, I could feel like my arms getting all cold and stuff. So behind me, if you noticed that I showed you, you said that it was like a cart. Can you see it?
Yes.
This is a baby carriage. It's an old baby carriage with a metal push handle. It's one of those old type of ones from like the 60s, 70s. We had the springs on it. It was an old type of one. So I go and I'm like, it's getting cold behind me. There's a metal handle here. Let me touch it and see if that's cold too. So I grabbed the metal handle, and that's when it came to me. I had an image of a woman throwing some sort of fluid on top of a baby and throwing a match. Being a father and stuff like that, it's like, anything with children bother me. So I was like, let go quickly. And I went outside the building, and I was getting a little emotional. I had tears coming down and stuff. I don't know, I was crying. I think it was more of a type of tear thing. And I was outside. My brother was with me that time. He's an investigator also. And he comes outside and he goes, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, I'm all right." He goes, "Why don't you come back? You want to come back in?" I said, "Yeah, I might as well." Because Hinsdale House is like a 7-hour ride from my house. So it's not like I'm going to go home, you know?
Right.
So I walk back into the place, and my brother's like, "Why don't you touch it and see what else you see?" So I went back and I actually touched the carriage again, and I seen the baby all burnt and ashed up and everything. And I let go, and I was, to this day, it still bothers me with the image I had. That was a horrible image of a child that was, hurt. Then it was like an hour later, and all of a sudden, the front door, you hear click, and opened. The door opened by itself, and I know I locked that door. And the door opened, and we all got up and we ran. But where that door is, we didn't run out. We ran towards it.
Right.
Like an investigator, like, "Hey, let's go see." So we go running towards it, see what caused it. And we went in there, and outside that door, if somebody opened the door from the outside, there's a sensor light. It would have went off. But the door opened up by itself, and anybody inside would have opened it, we would have seen. And everybody was with us, so it's none of us. We ran out. We were running around the whole thing and running around, and we didn't find nothing there, nothing that should open that door. So that was one of those weekends. It was a little crazy. It was a crazy weekend for us over there.
So your first instinct with the opening door was to try to debunk everything you could think of.
Yes. Yeah. But it was funny also, I had a GoPro, a night vision GoPro facing that door at that time. And the GoPro was turned around, like physically turned around away from the door, so we didn't even see the door open. We could hear it on the audio of the camera, but you didn't see it. It was like it was spun around.
Wow. Yeah,
it was crazy. So it was a event that I'll never forget. It was a crazy night. It was, we had so much stuff going on at that location. I'll show you some more stuff.
All right.
Okay. Oh, this was crazy. This is from the Conjuring House. In Rhode Island.
Right. I have heard of it.
Yeah, I think everybody's heard of it, especially now since they closed it and all the controversy going on with the owner, who the owner is now, and all that stuff going on. And it's a bunch of people in the paranormal community wishing it opens up again, because there was so much stuff to happen there. It's a crazy location, and but when I was there, I went there like 2 or 3 times. And the one time I was there, and I'm walking around outside by myself, because that's what I do. I always take off by myself with my camera, and get away from, because I don't want to hear. I like to control the environment I'm in, so I don't have to hear everybody else talking and everything. So as I'm walking, I see this thing pop out of the ground, look at me, and then pop back in the ground. And on my audio, my camera, I get, "I hate you." Yeah. Well, this is what I seen pop out of the ground.
Oh, good Lord.
It was just popped out and went back down.
That's horrifying.
That night we had John Zaffis was with us that night. And he said it could be they got ancients. They call them ancients, and the ancient that might be one of them that popped out of the ground and then went back down. And I got an audio. I hate you, and it came out clear.
Wow.
So clear on that. Yeah. So. Okay. This is one. A couple years ago, I did the Massachusetts Paracon. Matter of fact, I think this is where well, the Massachusetts Paracon. After the Paracon, they had a investigation in one of the churches. Okay. So I was walking around one of the churches, and I went through by the staircase. As I walked up to the staircase, I seen this woman standing there. Okay. She's just standing there and looking at me, and I started, hello. And she just turned around and walked to the wall on this side here. She just walked into the wall.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, all right. So I walked around the place. I did an investigation with my camera and everything. And then I hooked up with some other people, and we hung out, and we did a couple of investigations. So I think it was the caretaker, one of the guys that was there that was locking up for us. And I was on the top of the stairs, the staircase going up. There's a chair that was sitting there, and I was sitting right there and doing investigations. We're doing a spirit box there, and a couple other things there. And he came by there. I think at the end of the night he was locking up and stuff, and he's like, and so I'm like, I told him what's down there, and what happened. I seen this woman standing there, and all of a sudden just turned and went into the wall. And he's like, you know what's on the other side of that wall? I said, no idea. He goes, it's a cemetery out there, but that's where all the ashes from cremated, it's like a little thing with a monument with all the ashes from cremated people, that are there. And I'm like, whoa. So I don't know sure who she was or why she was there, but maybe something to do with maybe her ashes was laying in this location, behind that wall. She just, this is what I'm saying. This is how I see things. Okay. As a spirit artist, I have my friend Richard Marcella. I told you I investigated him too. He's a spirit artist also, but he does like the psychic. He'll sit down with you and read you as he's reading you. He's speaking to a spirit, and he's drawing the spirit as he's speaking to you. So he can, so you know who he's talking to, and he'll show you the picture. And I would say like 98% of the time, the picture that he draws is somebody that they know, because they always pick up their phone and this is what it looks like, somebody on their phone. So that's that kind of psychic. But this is what I see when I see things. But I also see like elements and stuff like that, and cryptics.
You mean elementals?
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah. Well, you got cryptics, but the elementals also are out in the field. Also, that's another type of spirit that's in the woods that takes care of the location out in the woods. So like I said, I've seen a bunch of different things. Place in Newburgh, New York. I used to do this old, like 2013 or something like that. And I have a friend that her family owned this old area. It used to be a farm there years ago. And they made it into like one of those haunted location, like a haunted hayride type of place, But the place had activity. So we went there, and we were getting a bunch of stuff. I got a bunch of things there. But I also seen here, there's a field that you walk in. as we're walking through the field, rocks are being tossed at us. You can hear rocks. My brother was with me, and stuff being tossed at us. And the field. Then you come to the field. There's like these old trailers where they keep as storage for all the Halloween stuff that they put up around that time of year. So we're walking over there, and it was crazy because the rocks were being tossed at us. He went one way, and I went the other way. As I went by this area of trailers, I seen this creature standing there.
Huh. How tall was it?
Yeah, it's like a puckwudgie. That's a new version. I mean, I didn't know what to call it. Everybody's saying it looks like a puckwudgie. I don't know, but it had hair, but the eyes stuck out like little, like it had the binoculars on his face, but
Okay.
it wasn't connected. And he looked at me, and then just turned around and vanished. And so that's what I seen. And it was wild because they told me afterwards, the owner, that they thought there was like an imp on their property that changes shapes, and they see it all the time on top. There's a barn there that's 200 at the time it was like 250 years old, and they see it on the roof of the barn all the time, and it looks like a raccoon, but it's not a raccoon, and they don't know what it is. And then it'll disappear and it'll change its shape into something else. So they think it's something like an imp or whatever that's there, and they've seen it. So when I show them that picture later on, they're like, oh, "That's what we see. That's what we seen." So that was crazy that time. You know, it's like, wow. I was amazed that I seen them, because they've been seeing that for years. The woman, her family owned the property over 150 years. So that's property, had it for a long time. The barn was there 250 years. So other people, and that area in Newburgh, it's where George Washington had his, he had down the road there, he had his command center, and soldiers used to camp all over that area. So it's interesting. It has a lot of history going on up there.
Which war?
Huh?
You said soldiers used to camp there. Which war?
George Washington.
The Revolutionary War, or the French and Indian War?
Oh, Revolutionary War up there.
Okay.
You know? And yeah, George Washington was up there. He had a command center right down the road, because they used to come in and take the biggest house, and that was it. That was their command centers, and everybody else stayed out in the area in tents and everything. So it was interesting how I caught that. Also, the same place. I told you there was like a wooded area. There was an open field, and then I walked into trail. Well, in the open field, I was walking, and I heard like footsteps, like by the corner of the woods coming towards me. So I thought it was like my brother or somebody walking towards me, and I was calling them. All of a sudden, I see this. I don't know what it is. I didn't look like it had wings. It looked like it was like some kind of robe or something, but the face had no eyes. The face was just like, the eyes were just glowing, and it had like more of like a skeleton type of nose.
And it had a hood over its head.
Yeah, it looked like some sort of robe. Yeah. And this was coming like right by the woods. Like I said, I thought it was actually a person walking up to me. And I never seen anything like this. And I never seen anybody say anything about, even give this thing a name. And that was the same location.
That is weird.
Yeah, this was one of the, where did this come from?
Now, you apparently a brave man, because I know a lot of people who would run something like that walking up to them.
I'll tell you a story how that I really got into investigating all this.
Go ahead.
I was about 13 years old. All my life, since I was a little kid, I had experience in my home, different shadow people calling my name, and I would see faces and plants, and some people standing behind me in mirrors and stuff. So growing up, you couldn't talk about it and stuff. That's why I got into the drawing. Well, as a kid, I was always told not to talk about it. So as a kid, my therapy, to me, I guess it was, I didn't even realize it was therapy, but I used to draw everything that I saw with a pencil, crayon, pen. And that's how I got into this spirit art type of stuff. And I didn't even know it even had a name until like 3 or 4 years ago. But when I was 13 years old, and if some people might have heard the story because I tell it a lot. I lived in a place called Glendale, New York. It's in Queens, and we're surrounded by 9 cemeteries. And there's a lot of 9, yeah. During the 1920s, they used to call us it was nicknamed the cemetery belt, because Queens was in the 20s and all that. It was like the country to the people in the city and everything else. And and so it was. So as a kid, back in the 70s, Queens had a bad. I know my area did. There was a lot of heroin going around, and there was needles laying in parks and stuff like that. So you couldn't go in the park and play basketball, baseball, and anything like that. So everything we did was in the cemetery, because they had open fields in a lot of cemeteries. There was a lot of these cemeteries are so big. There was open fields. We used to play football and stuff like that, and whatever we did. But as a teenager, I was with a group of my friends, and they decided, we were with a group of girls, with me, my friends, and a group of girls, and the girls wanted to go to they wanted to go shopping.
Of course.
So to get to the next town over, which was Mill Village, we used to cut to the cemetery, So we used to cut to the cemetery and go to these places, and then come back home and whatever. Well, it was getting a little late, and back then you had a lot of these kids had to be home before the street lights turned on. Once the street lights turn on, you better be home, because you get in trouble if not. That's how it was back then. And so we are walking back. We went to the shopping, and then the girls had to get them back because they had to get home. So we're walking to the cemetery. As before we go leave, because there's holes in fences over there, because cemeteries are closed over here 4:30. They lock your friend. If you're in your car, you're locked in. That's how strict they are. So we're walking. We're about to cut through the fence, because the fence leads into like train tracks, Long Island Railroad, and then you walk over the railroad and you're home. So we stop and we start talking before we leave the cemetery. And I'm talking to my friend, and I look over his shoulder, and I see a woman standing at a grave, like praying. And she was at a little distance, and I could see her. She had a white gown that was blowing in the wind, and there was no wind that day. And her hair was red, blowing in the wind. She had like red hair, and she was like praying like this. And she had no feet. So I turned to my friends. I'm like, look at this lady. She's in the cemetery. It's closed. And why would she be here? And they turned around, and there was nobody there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she does. It was like totally boom. So I got nervous, and I left pretty much. And I walked out of I walked home, and people back then like, oh, what drugs you on? Hey, what did you see? Yeah, it was like, in the 70s, they always, every time you did something, they accuse you on drugs. So I get home, and it's a normal time. At the time, it was like, I go to sleep that night, and I had this dream that I had to go back to the cemetery the next day. This woman's calling me back in my dream.
Really?
Yeah. And in that cemetery, there was an old church that burned down like a couple years before that. So it was still the ruins of the church, you know. It was still a little bit of foundation and stuff. So I had a dream that I had to go back to that location. And so I'm like, I'm nervous and everything, but I said, yeah, I'll give it a try. You know, I told two of my friends, and my friend's like, we're going to go with you. I said, no, don't go with me. You know, we're going with you because you're not going to the cemetery by yourself. So him and his girlfriend followed me, and we went to the cemetery. Now, we got to walk up, and the church was on top of this hill. So as I'm walking up this dirt road, they're following me behind me. And I'm getting all these chills and really starting to feel crazy. I'm like, so I turned to them and I said, listen, you guys stay here. I'll go in and see what happens. You know, you guys just stay here. They're like, nah, we're going to go with you. You're not going by yourself. I said, no, I want to go. No, we're going to go with you. As they are saying, no, we're going to go with you, a tree branch falls between them and I. Just like, whoo. Now they look at me and say, you're on your own. And they ran away. We're out of here. Now they're not brave no more. So I continue going back up the hill. I'm like, oh, what did I get myself into? And I walk into where the center of the grave is, at the center of where the church was. And you can still see there's burned stuff there and everything. And it's the whole church is gone. It's just a little bit of foundation and stones and everything. I walk into the middle there, and all of a sudden I feel cold hands on my back. Felt like cold hands. Yeah. I'm like, whoa. And they're like pushing me. And I'm like, I'm going to go with this. We'll see how far I'm going to go with it. So they pushing me, and all of a sudden I don't feel it on me. And I look down at a grave right in front of me. I said Mary, and I don't remember the last name. To this day, I still don't remember. And I look for that grave, and I still can't find it. But it said Mary on it. Mary's. So I'm like, okay, now I'm at to a point that I had enough.
Yeah.
I had enough. You know, I'm 13 years old. How much am I going to go? You know, I was just I was curious, and I was trying to be as brave as possible. So I was like, okay, that's it. Now I start running. I'm out of here. I'm running into the, you know, and I ran so fast. I was like, because the cemeteries in Glendale and Mill Village and all that, that was all fake cemetery. It was so big, you know, it's a big cemetery. So you're not going to run and then get there. You know, you're going to run out of steam before you get to the end. So I'm running.
Did you have a way out? Were you locked in, or is there a way out of there?
We had holes in the fence.
Okay.
We used to go in there. We weren't allowed to go in at nighttime. They caught you in there, they would have you arrested. So I go running, and I run out of breath, you know. And I look down on a grave right next to me. I'm just there, and it's a grave, and it's the same freaking grave I just seen with the name Mary on it.
Oh wow.
I start running again, you know, and then I stop one more time, and I seen the grave with the name Mary on it again. So I seen it 3 times, and then I heard my friends calling for me, and I went to them, and it was like, okay, I'm out of here. So I went there much later in life. I went back later on after I got my team together and everything, because I started a team in 1996, my first paranormal team. And so I went back there, and I wanted to see what was, you know, that location. And I went to that location, and I'm looking around, and it's all children's graves there. Back during the when they had the it was 1918, the graves and stuff like that. I think it was influenza or something something happened, and all these children died from it. And they didn't bury the children pretty much with their parents. They put them, not like today, you know, everybody's together. A lot of the poor, they buried, their children were buried at separate locations. Besides that, if they died of some kind of virus or anything like that, they weren't buried in regular, they weren't
Right.
buried in regular. They had a section because they were afraid that even the dead was going to transmit whatever stuff. That's how ignorant they were back then with stuff.
Right.
So there's a bunch of graves there. I said, but there's one grave there with the grave that she was standing by, and I was looking. I went there and I looked. Matter of fact, I just went there like a couple of weeks ago to look at it again. And it's her name, and then it says Maria on the grave. So I have no idea if the word Mary I seen has something to do with Maria. And she was praying over her own grave.
You got to think that's a possibility.
Yeah. As I always leave things open as an investigator. I always leave things open because of that. Just to yeah. They called it the Black November. Yeah, it was TV.
It was a global pandemic. It actually started in an Army training camp.
Oh, really?
But we had entered World War One, so the guy who I guess started it got the unlucky thing of catching it from nowhere. Who knows? Spread it to his Army buddies, spread it to train stations on his way to Europe. Got to Europe, spread it all over there, interacting with the French and the British and the Germans.
Yeah.
And then come back, and he was still patient 0.
Mm-hmm.
And it was
just transmitted like that.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Okay. Because over here in Queens, we had a lot of stuff going on, different locations, and we have where they buried people that died from different plagues, pandemics and everything else, because, like you said, they were afraid to put them in regular cemeteries because they were afraid that it's going to be transmitted through, because they actually buried them in cemeteries where they buried the Native Americans and Black Americans, African Americans, and they would put them in locations where they would bury their dead, and they would just put it all together around. We have a place over here that Flushing. It's called the Flushing burial grounds, and it's crazy that they actually that location. They actually made it into a park.
A park?
Yeah, because it was like a potter's type. They called it like a potter's, but it wasn't. There was actually graves there, and there's like 1,200 people buried there, and a lot of them were children, and the Indians and Black, and they're all buried in that location. And somebody decided, hey, let's use that piece of land. They just covered it up and they made it into a park. And not to like 1986, they actually made it back. They put all these dedications, and then they put all kinds of memorials there. It's still a park. You can walk around, but they actually made it into a park. After 50 years of doing clubs. Yes, graves. Yeah. Like I said, where I am in Queens, cemeteries by me are from 1848. What happened was there was a law passed in Manhattan that all the people, because in Manhattan that used to always be farmland at one time before
Right.
they all the skyscrapers and they made it into like a big ass city. But and a lot of people, when they died, they buried them on their land. They didn't have these cemeteries or nothing. So these people, not just groups of people, decided they're going to buy land in Brooklyn and Queens, and they were going to sell plots to people. In Manhattan, what happened was they passed a law that you have to assume all the graves on your property, and you have to move them.
Right.
So what they did was, in the middle of the night, a lot of these people um, they exhume all these graves and they put them on these horse and carriage. That's what they had back then, you know.
Yeah.
It's not like they're going to put it in the back of a Mack truck and drive it, you know, for
Right.
we call a 40-foot box. So they would put them in these things, and they would go over to the East River, throw them on a boat, go into the other side of East River, throw them on these wagons again, horse and wagons, and take them to the location. So they did that. Well, they get to these locations. What happens? A lot of these people, a lot of the boxes are rotted. The coffins were rotted, and all these bones and everything, as from the shaking of the wagon and all this stuff, they would break. So they would open up these wagons, and all the bones would be mixed. Everything be mixed. So what they did was they would do mass graves. They would dig all the throw them in this mass grave and then put stones of the people that are in that location. So that's what they used to do a lot. I know they did it over here in Queens. I don't know anywhere else. I know in Brooklyn they did also. They would just say, okay, they're all buried here. Okay, we put the lot, you know, we're showing respect by putting their, you know, markers on the property, but it was a mass grave. So a lot of activity happens. I know in the cemeteries by us. I'm not sure because of that, but there was a lot of stuff that.
How many bodies do they think is there?
Well, by the stones, there must be hundreds, maybe a couple hundred. You know, in one location I know of, that it was more of a poorer type of area, and I mean, maybe some of the areas maybe up to like 300-400 people, maybe more, depending on where they did it. Because they don't have markers saying, "Oh, this is where it was." They just did it, and they did it in the middle of the night. The reason they did everything in the middle of the night is because they didn't want people to realize that dead bodies are passing their houses back then.
Right.
You know, so they did a lot of stuff at nighttime with all these graves. You know, because where I am, I got a lot in Glendale. There's a lot of famous graves, like Harry Houdini's. Right, it was like right up the block from my house. And we got Mae West, Peter Luger. I don't know if you know Peter Luger. He was a steakhouse place. You know, they sell Peter Luger sauce and stuff. The original Peter Luger. Was a gentleman, Jim Corbin. He was a boxer back in the, I think it was one of those bare knuckle boxes. I think back in the 20s and stuff like that. So it was like a lot of famous people in these over by me, you know, even a lot of mobsters and everything that, you know, from the five families. So it was, every so often I go, we got Jackie Robinson there. We got Bo Jangles. Remember Bo Jangles? And he's in a song. Yeah. What's his name? Robbins. Last name is Robbins. So yeah, there's a lot of famous people in those locations, and plus there's a lot of history with other locations. You know, a lot of history with people like doctors and that found stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, and funny you mentioned Jackie Robinson. You know, Jackie Robinson broke into the major leagues. What was it?
Yeah.
Forget what year it was. But it was on April 15th.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yesterday was Jackie Robinson Day, where everybody wears number 42 in the major league.
I didn't realize that. I really don't follow, but that's interesting. If I know that, I probably would have went over to his grave. I know his grave is. I go there. His grave is it's a small grave. You think it's going to be some kind of tremendous big thing. It wasn't. It's a small grave. And people put baseballs all over it. It's baseball bats on it and hats and stuff like that. And then it's the grave where it says Robinson, and there's like 3 graves in the front. Is his, I think his wife and his mother or father, and it's like a little family plot there.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so and it's not big. I'm like that's because you hear so much about a lot of these people, and you think they're gonna have these big monuments and stuff, and They really don't. Really. The Fox sisters. I don't know if you ever heard of the Fox sisters. They're the modern. They actually are credited to started the modern spiritualist movement. Yeah, the Fox sisters. There were two young girls in 1848 or 48. They had some kind of stuff going on in the house, and they actually started with the knocking of answers and the alphabet. You say the alphabet, and there's a knock on each one of the letters, and yeah, and knock. Yeah, it's really they called the spirit Mrs. Splitfoot. Yeah, so they lasted into like their 50s, and they passed away themselves. But they were big in this area. The whole family's buried around here. And so,
Well, you're talking about mass graves. Gettysburg has got several, but there's not that many of them in any one mass grave. You got a lot of single graves, and then you got several mass graves around the area.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I talk so fast sometimes. You know, I'm a typical New Yorker. You know, we talk. Hey, blah, 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 blah. You know, it's not like I try to talk over people.
Down in the South, we talk long and slow. So we may not say a whole lot, but it just takes us a long time to get there.
I could probably have like a whole story out before you have a couple words out.
Exactly.
In New York, you gotta be go, go, go. Everything's go, go, go.
The advantage is that when you ask a Southern woman to have sex, before she says no, you've already done
it. I gotta remember that. I gotta come down south. You know, it's interesting.
But, you talking about mass graves? You know, there's one in Chicago.
Chicago?
Yes. Camp Douglas was a Civil War prison camp, and between depending on what records you believe, between 4,000 and 6,000 people were buried there.
Wow.
They put them in Chicago Cemetery, City Cemetery, and they were going to close that cemetery, so they moved them to Oakwood Cemetery, just south of the present Chicago University. And what they did, they had a slight mound, and they just dug a circular trench several yards across, and just put the bodies in side by side in the circular trench. They filled the trench up, went out, about 6-7 feet, dug another trench all the way around, filled it up, come out about another 6 or 7 feet. So, you're not redigging the hole you just dug, just covered up, and filled up the third trench, circular trench. And rather than having, of course, individuals, which they probably had no clue really, but they did have a list of names. And the Daughters of the Confederacy, 200 years ago, got a memorial in the center with all those people buried around them in mass graves. And they had plaques around the memorial listing all their names and the unit they were in.
Wow.
That is a true definition of a mass grave. We had the bodies just thrown in shoulder to shoulder.
It's funny because the disrespect they do to a lot of these, after you die, with these people, like with us over here, like they just have bones and they just put in one big massive thing, and then they, Gettysburg, I know about the graves over there because wherever they found a soldier, a Confederate soldier, more than a Union soldier, they would bury them where they found them. And there's behind by there's Gettysburg College. There's a field there now. They put a whole kind of field and all kinds of stuff there. But when I first started going back to Gettysburg in it was in 2000, 2008, 2009, these fields weren't there. And one location that we went to, it was we went on one of those ghost tours. That's for fun, you know, to see what's going around. Because I didn't know much about Gettysburg. I just, you know, we wanted a night that we were just going to go with them. And of course, we did our own investigations. We broke off from the group. We wanted to see where the locations were at that time, because we really didn't know whether, you know, any of the any activity was going on. So we were following the group, and they said, in this area here, they found, like 20 years after the war, I think it was 17 soldiers, Confederate soldiers, and they were buried like in an L shape. They said there was a lot of light activity there. So we went over there and we walked by the woods, and I got so much pictures. I have a picture of, I took a picture, and of course back then I could lighten it and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And as I lightened it, you could see a soldier standing on by a tree, and it looked like he has a bandage on his head, and he had like blood all over his chest. Another one that we had that looked like somebody laying on the floor holding somebody else, like a man holding a woman laying on the floor. And then also there was a lot of light anomalies, which I'm not too crazy about all that stuff. Yeah, coffee and tobacco.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a cigar smoker, so I share those with the spirits too.
I gathered that from the picture you sent me. That's a very cool picture, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I tried it with the AI, and I was like, oh, wow, that came out pretty nice. Hey, I liked it.
Yes, it actually did. Look good. But you did that yourself?
Well, I put the picture in, and I just typed up what you need, what I wanted, pretty much in the background stuff, and that's what it gave me.
Good job.
There's a picture of me in a cigar, and that was pretty much it. You know, what I wanted on it.
You look good.
Oh, thank you.
So my compliments.
No, I like that the way it looked, and thank you. So we took a lot. I was seeing things in trees sparkling and all this stuff as a sensitive, but nobody else seen it. So I kept on telling people, take pictures here, take pictures here, and they were taking pictures, and they were getting stuff where I was pointing it out. You know, it looked like one thing was stream that went up to around a tree, and it came down and stuff. They had one thing, and this is the crazy part about it. I'm a retired electrician, and I got hurt on the job. I was in a ceiling. It was the Fox News building, right over on 6th Avenue. And I was up in the ceiling, and I was wiring something, and I went to pull myself up above the ductwork, and I had the ductwork in front of me and the sprinkler behind me. And I pulled myself up to get myself in position. As I did that, whoever was there before me left a box, electric box open with wires hanging, and it touched my head right here.
Ooh.
Yeah. And as I did that, my nose grounded out on the duct. So I grounded, and I just pulled myself back. All I seen was like a bright light, and it was weird because I seen people on there and stuff like that. But that's another story. But I came down the ladder. I have blood all over my face because everything blew out on me. It was 277, something that could have killed me if I stayed there long enough. And I came down the ladder, and so it took me a while to recoup from that. So at Gettysburg, right after that, like after I felt better and we went to Gettysburg and stuff, and I was there, and somebody took pictures of me. It looked like a light going into my middle of my forehead and shooting out the bottom of my nose, two of them coming down.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, at first I was like, that could be because I'm a camera person, so I'm always looking for lens flares and all that stuff, and
Right.
I'm always trying to debunk something. But something like that, it just shot me in the middle of the head. You could see like a light coming in. My eyes are closed, and two of it coming out my nose. So it was crazy, and I thought that was a good piece of evidence, and I still have it to this day, and I can't explain it, and it was, yeah, it was. Somebody was, what was that? It was electric discharge from your brain. Yeah, maybe, but that was crazy.
Did you ever get into where Pickett's Charge was, or Devil's Den?
Oh yeah. Devil's Den. I've been there quite a few times.
You got those great big rocks there.
Yeah. What happened? They say those rocks are from the glaciers, like millions of years, and that was where they dropped all these glaciers. And those rocks, I couldn't get down there, but my kids, there's spaces. If you're small enough and skinny enough, you could get down there, and you got space, and you could crawl around. Well, during the Battle of Gettysburg, right, because the Pickett's Charge came in around that area by the Devil's Den, and they came in, and the Union Army had the high ground, and they were shooting the cannons at them. Well, at the Devil's Den, there were snipers. They would come up and they were sniping. So it was, that's where they were sniping from there, and of course, they fought them back, and a lot of the snipers were killed from that spot. But that activity there, my friend Joey and his daughter were there. We were all there that night, and he went over and started doing EVPs. And on he's like asking questions, and you could hear on his EVP, charge.
Really?
He heard charge, and he comes.
Wow!
It's out. He goes, "We're the only two here," and they went up on one of the rocks on the side there, and there was nobody at that time in that location, and we were pretty much like the only people in that location at that time. And he heard charge, and that's where the pick and charge started, and they went into the field to go and fight, and a lot of that field. There's so many people killed there because of the cannons just blowing everything apart. So, so it was, that place, yeah, the Devil's Den, the Pickens Charge, and it was like, and the Peach Orchard is where I first see my first spirit there. I told you, walking off the battlefield, and that same night we were doing EVPs, and we would just walk around with our cameras and stuff like that. Because, like I said, we're camera people, my brother and I, and stuff. So we're doing with the camera. And years later, we was doing reviews. Like, sometimes you just listen to some old stuff. And something we didn't hear back then that we heard now, because now, technology now, you can hear things better. You can up it, and, and we heard, like, the rebels yell, as the rebels came in, the Confederate Army came in. They would like scream, and like a charge, I guess, to scare the Union Army, thinking there's more people there than whatever. And it was the Devil's Den. We heard the charge, So that was something that we heard. Gettysburg was always my favorite, What's new technology? If you run your old EVPs, noise spectrum, and just filters out white noise. A lot of people use the portals and stuff like that to filter out the white noise now. There's a lot of nice equipment coming out with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not much of a. I do have all of the ITC stuff from the message you receive. More information, yeah.
Do you have you're speaking of evidence, do you have a place where you post the evidence?
I've been posting stuff for years I didn't post a lot of my stuff, not because I didn't want to share it, because I always had people criticizing my stuff for years. So now I've been posting stuff on my the Seekers Chronicles Paranormal Historian YouTube page. So I got a bunch of stuff on that. You know, I got to post more on that. You know, white noise often presents multiple from the sound spectrum. Yeah, white noise is they feel that the white noise could help spirits say that, you know, tell the, you know, help spirits to actually pronounce, say their words and stuff like that. That's what the white noise does. But you don't always need that. They don't always need that, because you know, I mean, how many times you hear a disembodied voice? I know I hear them all the time, and I'm with people I'm with. We hear things all the time, disembodied voice. But the white noise is supposed to help them, you know,
Right.
how they could vocalize themselves to you. That static, you know.
Yeah, I was once in a farmhouse, and after investigating all night, I had been up most of the day. I was working on close to 24 hours of being awake.
I know.
So I was going to sleep in the location and investigate the next night.
Mhm.
So I was laying down, and I have two artificial knees, by the way.
Okay.
And of course, after being up all night and in a car the day before, my legs were aching,
I know.
and
I got a bad knees, too.
I was struggling. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
Anybody with bad knees does. I was struggling to get out of my pants and where I could get comfortable. And I heard a child's voice, sound like a male child to me.
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with him?
Oh wow.
And then a woman's voice came up, and much more mature voice. That's why I say it was in a female. You know, so say it's a woman's voice.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the child's mother or grandmother. He has bad knees.
Oh wow.
And I'm sitting there getting undressed. I'm already, you know, a little bit dozy because I'd been up and I was trying to relax. The person I was investigating with was already in a room down the hall, sound asleep. The owner of the location wasn't even there. There was just two of us in the house, and the other guy was asleep. And of course, there was no sound going on in the house, no radio, no TV, no nothing, and nobody around the building.
Yeah.
When it gets that quiet, that still, sometimes you can hear this stuff with no white noise, no nothing. All of a sudden, I'm hearing voices.
Mm-hmm. That's how I feel with that. I've been doing, as I'm getting older now with different types of different techniques I'm trying out. And it's like my newest thing is, and I did it a lot of times in the past too, but people don't have the patience to do it anymore. Everybody wants their right away. Oh, put that light on, ring that bell. Stop it. I go in. When we went to Penhurst, I went into a location. I was with a bunch of like people that they've been investigating a couple of years. So I said, well, let's go in. And they start putting music on and all this stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute. Can we just do me a favor and just try something else? I said, just let's sit still, quiet, nothing going on. Shut your equipment off. Just sit there and quiet and let the building talk to us. Let it talk to us, because, you know, a lot of times, and that's gets me mad too. It's like they hear one thing and they're like, you hear that? You hear that? You hear? But there's like 15 other things after that you don't hear because everybody's screaming. Like, did you hear that? Did you hear? Oh, the bell. Shut up. Just let it work. Let it happen. Just be quiet. Just let it happen. It doesn't necessarily. Why do you have to? Because you go, ooh, there's something else you're stepping on that you can't hear. That might be even more important than just what you just heard.
Yes.
So I've been trying to do that, and it's like I've been people have been calling me a paranormal investigator for a long time, and I'm changing that now. I'm calling myself a supernatural spectator because spirit only gives you what they want. You sit there, you listen, and they're going to come to you and share with you. You're in their world. You're in their world. They're not in your world. You're in their. You go to their location. You're in their world. This is where they are. So I don't feel that everybody could. You could do investigate, and do research. That's what's part of it. But give them a chance to talk. Give them a chance to say what they got to say. Okay, you're not there to hear everybody screaming. You hear each other scream because you heard one. Oh well, the bell went off, the light went on. The buzzer went off on that thing, and the senses and it. Stop it. Sit back, listen. They'll come to you and they'll tell you, and you want to hear their story. I don't want to hear some person next to me. Did you hear that? No, I don't want to hear. Yes, I did hear it. If I didn't hear it, I got to be deaf. It happened. Stop. Let the spirit comes to you. Let them have their explain. Let them talk to you. So I'm starting to look at things differently now too, because like I said, I've been doing such a long time, and everybody's doing the same thing over and over and over. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's the same questions, and it's the same equipment, and the lights going off, the bells are going off, the whistles are going off. You don't need all that equipment. Just sit there, record if you want. Like me, I sit there with a camera, and there's camera has the audio. Just sit there and let them come to you and let them speak, and that's how you get a lot more. And don't antagonize the spirit. Don't go in there and threaten them and antagonize them. That doesn't help. I found out through the years that they come to you, and the more the nicer you are, the more respectful you are to them, they'll give you more.
Yes, they will. There was a story. We were talking about New Orleans earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Pennsylvania State on a TV show called Paranormal State. Multiple prolonged approach. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
In New Orleans, we were talking about that earlier. Chris Talley tells me about somebody who came on one of his tours and went to the voodoo location and antagonized the spirit there. And it started coming back at her, and they actually had to get her out of there. Chris had to pull her out, got her out to the street. She barely got out to the street and started throwing up in the middle of the street in front of the place.
Oh, wow.
And she said, I don't know what happened to me, but they went ahead and moved the entire tour to the next location, the Andrew Jackson, as it turned out. And they started investigating there, and the spirit followed her there and would not leave her alone.
Really?
So I tell these people that are coming to the New Orleans Paracon, they always tell you, never antagonize the spirits anywhere you go. In New Orleans, they will come back on you.
Mm-hmm.
So don't do it, because there will be a cost and you're going to be the one paying.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sometimes spirits just come back with you, even if you're respectful too, and sometimes they attach to you. I know how to have a bunch of attachments, something will follow me home or whatever. And you could do whatever what you do to get rid of them. I always say a prayer, or, people stage, and they have all these different rituals that they do. And I mean, it doesn't matter what you do. If they're going to come with you, they're going to come with you. They sometimes they feel, like they have something. I feel when a spirit attaches to you and wants to go home with you, there's something that they feel like they have in common with you, or maybe they think you're a fatherly figure or a motherly figure, or you remind them of somebody they loved, or maybe somebody they didn't like, and they follow you. And well, some attachments are not good. No attachments are good, really, but some of them are not there to hurt you. They just have a feeling that, relation somewhere. Don't have haunted.
They don't have to haunt you. They can destroy your life through circumstances. Yet the spirits can give you a hard time.
Yes. Yeah.
And Bachelor's Grove, I had a lady that I even discussed this with John Zappas.
Mhm.
The lady picked up some, we had a recent rain and it washed up. You know how it rains on stuff where there's stuff buried underground.
Yeah. Yeah.
It washed up some plate shards.
Oh, really? Okay.
So she picked up the plate shards, some of them pretty good size. Some of them were like this, almost a quarter of a plate. The other were smaller. She picked them up and took them home. And
People never learned.
And you know what happened. You're reacting. You know exactly what happened. She had a dark figure appearing that night in the middle of the night at the foot of her bed that would just stand there. She finally, after 2 or 3 or 4 nights, woke up her husband because he just wondered why she was up at night. And he saw it. So she contacted me and said, how do I get rid of this? And she told me about the plate charts. I said, you get those plate charts tomorrow. You take them back down to the exact spot where you found them and put them back.
Yeah.
And that ended it.
Okay.
And John Zappas gave a great big long, explanation as to why that was it wasn't the best choice. It was the only choice.
That's right.
There's nothing else you could do.
John would know better than anybody because he's the paranormal. Remember, he had that show. He was the paranormal collector, and he knows about stuff like that. But the whole thing is, he's a demonologist and he knows how to secure these things. And if you're going to just take it home and have it sitting in your cabinet, just showing it, or just to have it in your room, whatever, you really don't. You don't do stuff like that. Look at Penhurst, and there's so much stuff there. I could have picked up a rock or something and take it home. And hey, look a piece of Penhurst, and you don't do stuff like that. You don't take something from a location, even if it doesn't matter what it is. Don't take it because you don't know what you're going to bring home with you. And people don't seem to understand that, And then they do something like that, and then they wonder, how can I get rid of it? Duh. Why'd you take it in the first place? You should know better. But I mean, it's a different group of people investigating since I started. Like I said, everybody wants those bells and whistles. They'll spend $300-400 on a piece of equipment that they use maybe 1 to 2 times, or they might make that one piece of equipment their whole investigation. They take it. Say yes. 1 for yes, 2 for no. Come on. It's like, doesn't show a haunting to me.
Right. Well, I do not like the flashlight thing because coming from Maglite, one of their people said that if you just loosen the cover on a Maglite, it will sit there and occasionally arc.
Yes. Yeah.
So next thing you know, it's blinking on and it goes off, blink on, go off, because it's arcing in there between the connection. And you only got a slight opening there, and the little arc is jumping and it's making that light flash.
See, with that too, you guys see the weather you're on. If it's a rainy day, you got that moisture in the air that could make that connection. If it's something humidity or whatever, that I don't like that. When I used to do the flashlights, but I stopped doing it. But I had I used 3 flashlights, 3 different colors: red, blue, and black. I used to put the red and blue on this side and the black in the center. And then I say, turn on the red one, turn on the blue one, turn on the black one. And if those lights came on, I'm not saying that was paranormal, but I got more of a chance that's something is trying to communicate with me, because I'm telling you turn on the red one and you got a black and a blue one there, and the red one turns on. Or if I tell you to turn the black one on and those turn on. When I do things, I'm not going to do things like one light and ask a question and say, turn that on. Turn it on if you're here, and then it turns on. I'm not into that. I have to have at least three. I have to be more verified. I haven't used the lights in a long time, and I'm not looking to go back to them. But if you're going to do something, do it right, and make sure there's no contamination in between. You know, and like you said, with the mag lights, you get that arcing. You know, like I said, I was an electrician, so I know all about those arcing things. You know, yeah, because you have a flashlight and you say, okay, and you tap it on the table, turn it on, turn it on. That tap could make an arc. Anything can make an arc. You walk on the floor, can make an arc. You know, and just to say turn it on, yeah, okay. If it does it on command, fine, but don't give a yes or no question. Say one for yes, two for no, and everything's a yes question, because it only arcs once and then turns on. You know, and I noticed too with the ITC and all this stuff, people seem to hear what they want. If I'm asking you a question, I know there's a John in the audience, or John that's haunting the location. Who's here? And it says something. Everybody hears a different thing. I hear John. All I gotta do is say, John, that's you? Everybody in the audience hears that same thing, John. Okay? I'm not knocking all the things with ITC and stuff, because there's a lot of good stuff out there. But if I'm going to do it, I want to make sure I do it and not know. And I won't say what I hear. I let somebody else come up with it. I hear this. No. Let the audience or who's with you hear it first. You know? And then you're like, oh, yeah, there is a John here. And they didn't know that. Okay, now there's more of a verification of truth there. You know, that's how I do things too. I try to verify more. Like I said, I've been doing this a long time, so I've been seeing a lot of people that do shortcuts now, and oh, look, there's an orb. I know I had somebody send me a picture of like in a field, a wheat field, matter of fact, and look like 100 orbs. Look, it's like an army of orbs. No, it's not. It's the pollen. It's whatever the wind's blowing. It's coming, and you're picking it up on your camera. You know, I had this one person.
If you use a flash, you'll almost get orbs every time, in most locations, because they're dusty.
Night vision, you get it all the time. And there's no flash. You just got the night vision going, and it will pick up things, and it looks like, oh, what's that going there? You know, and then I like, oh, look, the orb is going in circles, going back and forth. There's an open duct there. There's wind. There's, some of this stuff. You know, what was that question? I seen the orbs. Oh, okay. The naked eye. Yeah, I'm not against orbs, and I've seen orbs too. And to me, an orb is, when I see an orb on a picture, orb is like, when I see it, I look for like a solid circle around it, and it's like brighter, and then the center is a little duller. And it's usually one, maybe two, and that could be something else too. But if I'm seeing something in that location, I'm feeling something, and I take a picture of that location, and I'm getting an orb, to me, that verifies more of something that something's trying to manifest there, or maybe some sort of energy in that corner, and that's why I'm getting that picture.
Right.
Okay. But people walking down dusty roads, I had another person that sent me a picture, and they look, there's a mist. there's a mist in front of the camera. I said, was it cold out that night? Yeah, it was a little chilly. Duh, your breath. If it's cold, when you breathe, you're gonna blow that that like a smoky thing, and that'll go in front of your camera, and it doesn't matter. You snap a picture, it looks like something manifesting in front of you, and it's not. You know, or
Just your
somebody
hot breath and cold air.
Yeah, I had other people smoking cigarettes. Hey, look where we got. No, it's the smoke. Spark energy, acting of sound. Yeah. Yeah, sound could be. I mean, to me, anything that could grab energy out to manifest these spirits. It could be you. It could be your flashlight. It could be your camera. It could be anything. It could be just the air. You know, the hot in the air. Like you're in a place where it starts getting cold in a location. It's because, and I feel they're taking the energy out of the air. They're taking the heat out of the air to make them manifest or whatever they're going to do. It takes it out of the air. That's why it gets cold in a room or cold in a location. You know? But
You know, you were talking about sitting in a room quiet.
yeah.
I go one step beyond that. I'll pull off my shoes, especially if I'm on the second floor of a building.
Yeah.
The people below me doesn't hear my footsteps. I'll
Mhm.
even pull my socks off to ground myself on the floor and hold still. Then
You're grounding yourself.
I'm grounding myself.
That's all. That's a good idea. That's a good idea because you're grounding and you're listening at the same time. You know, and that's a true. I mean, when I go to location, that's another thing. Like if I talk to people and they ask me things about investigating and stuff, like first of all, if you're going to go on an investigation, use soft shoes. Use something that's soft. I see some of these women, and I see men also, and they come with these boots or these big heels on these shoes, and they go, "Oh, we're coming to investigate." Wait a minute, that's not an investigation because you're going to make noises, and it's going to be picked up somewhere along the line. Somebody's going to pick up something. There's footsteps. There's a bang or something. You don't need hard shoes. Use something soft. A sneaker, but even a sneaker too. With the, like I said before, I thought I heard a girl screaming, and it was just somebody scuffing their sneaker on the floor. You know.
Yeah, that squeak that it does, like
Mhm.
basketball players.
Yeah, yeah. And I thought it was a kid crying, somebody crying, but like soft shoes. You know, if you want to do investigation, use your head. What's going to cause some other stuff? So use the methods. On my electronic stimulus ground. Yeah, the best thing to always ground
I'll
yourself.
take whatever works for you.
Yeah, you know, I don't criticize what anybody does because you know what we do as people look at us like, oh, what the hell are they doing? You know, I went through a whole life of that. You know, like I said, we couldn't talk about it when we were kids and stuff like that. So I was being criticized about everything I see and everything. So I don't criticize what anybody does. I try to educate them on certain things, but I don't criticize. You know, if it works for you, that's perfect. You know, but you know, it's a different generation out there now. Everybody wants that 15 minutes of fame where they get a piece of evidence and look, it's going off. My EMF meter is going off, and this is a haunting. Now, I mean, I debunked a couple of the stuff, a couple of EMF meters. I was doing over by LaGuardia Airport over here in Queens, a mile down the road, and I was doing a house there with this woman. She was having a lot of activity going on there. And I had one of my meters on the table in her kitchen, and it was me and my friend Joey, and we're doing a little session there because we had We had the recorders out. We had a bunch of different little things out. And it kept on, the one thing kept on spiking. I'm not going to say the equipment because nowadays a lot of people are getting mad about mentioning their equipment, but it was kept on spiking into the red. Wow. It's like, what's going on? So we asked the question, spike into the red. Then we stop, and then it's spiking, it was going to the yellow. So, okay, you're going to yellow and back. Then I said, let's sit quiet and listen. Right down the road is where they actually take their airplanes and they bring them into the runway. So you hear them revving their engines, turning it on. As they turn on the engines, the meter spiked into red. I'm not sure if the tower was talking to them at that time, but the engine was revving and the meter kept on going to red. I'm like, are you kidding me? This thing is affecting this meter. About a mile down the road, and it's affecting the freaking meter. And I'm like, this is crazy. Then all of a sudden, it started going into yellow. So I'm like, as it turned into yellow, I was like, let's listen. Why it's going to yellow? Maybe there is something here. Helicopter. They had a heliport there. Every time they had a helicopter overhead, it was spiking to yellow. So our equipment can be affected by regular things, your cell phone and anything else, So when the people say, oh, it's a haunting here because a light goes on, it doesn't necessarily. You need more to it to actually call it a haunting.
Yeah, don't even investigate. There's a helicopter around.
Yeah.
Those blades, especially a good sized helicopter, like say a Black Hawk or a Chinook, where you got these huge blades, they're creating so much static and electricity. Yes. You could light up a whole neighborhood if you could connect it.
Yeah, because the friction from the chopper going around. This is over that area is more of the private kind of helicopters because it's not a military base, But
right.
But you're right with that. The friction makes electrical charges, like around wires. They call it eddy currents. It's like electrical charge that's around wires. You don't feel it by touching it, but it's called eddy currents, and it's like a magnet, or more or less. And if you put a meter on there, you're gonna it's gonna read high EMFs on that. So
yeah, you just got to be careful. Anything turning electric motor can create a small magnetic field.
Yes. Yeah.
You got to watch it around cell phone towers.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
transmission lines.
Cell phone towers. Yeah.
Especially is there cell phone towers everywhere. Especially if you look up a pole and everybody's got a transformer. A transformer will light any meter I've ever seen up.
Yeah, transformers, yes. Yeah, because that's putting out the eddy currents outside the transformer. Yeah. There's this auto shop that they asked me. My friend put his car there and to get fixed. And so we had to wait. So of course I drove there with my car with him just in case they weren't going to take his car right away. So of course I have my little carry bag of my equipment in the car to just in case, you never know.
You never know.
911, hey, let's go with the equipment and go do an investigation somewhere. So we're there and I break out a meter. And so I'm walking around. This is out Long Island. And I have the meter on my waist. And the thing is ringing red. I'm like, what the hell? And then it's like, and I'm going around trying to see, and I'm bringing it to the floor. As I bring it to the floor, it's not as red. On the floor, it's, like an orange or something like that. And as I break it up, it gets redder and redder and it's freaking ringing and stuff. Then I realized there was a tower above, right there, right behind the shop. I'm like, that's it. So they take them and I start walking down the road. As I further got away, it went down less. It still was there, but it went down less on the lights. So everything you gotta look into it, and it takes a lot of common sense when you do investigations. A lot of common sense, you know, for investigations. Because
and a little bit of debunking.
yes,
I never mind investigating with a skeptic.
mm-hmm.
I kind of hope they keep their mouth shut during the investigation,
Mm-hmm.
so they can listen and learn. And they're very helpful and say, okay, what's that voice? And they'll say, well, that came from this place or that place.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go start investigating that, and you find out that they might be right.
Yeah. When you do investigation, yeah, and I don't want any skeptics coming with me and stuff, but sometimes on investigation, you're hearing something and they will say, oh, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
A lot of guys that I know that are skeptics would never admit to you there's something there. They always, it doesn't matter what it is. It pays. What it is, and it'll go. They'll tell you oh, it's nothing. It's nothing. It's nothing. And then you look into it. Nothing you could say to them. I mean, a lot of them, a spirit could pop up in front of them and say, "Hey, how you doing?" Shake their hand and say, "Oh, that's nothing. That's something that smoke that popped up or something." They'll always find an excuse why it's not there. Instead of like once in a while agreeing with you, because a lot of times if a skeptic was with me and they say this, and this, no, there's nothing here. There's nothing here. I would look into it. Well, a lot of them don't. They just, whatever on the top of their head, just say, no, it's not there. It doesn't matter. It's not there. I know friends with like a bunch of people that are skeptics and stuff like that, but I like their input, but I would like them to tell me, oh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. They'll never do that. A lot of them, they will never do it. But then again, a skeptic that actually sees something and becomes like, now they're a believer, and it's like, yes, now I believe because I just got. If you're a skeptic, you're a believer.
The revered Wolf just brought up a good point. That's the problem with some locations where they run tour after tour. Bobby Mackey's had this problem where the ghost just got tired.
Yeah.
You can wear them out. And then you run 2 or 3 teams, there's decreasing response. Then a team comes in at the tail end and they get nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And of course, now, if I got something on every investigation, I would suspect my own methods.
Mm-hmm.
I have been to several locations that I know were haunted, but they weren't doing it that night.
Mm-hmm.
And I came away with absolutely nothing. Even though I used ghost box, echo box, I took pictures, I took video, I tried voice recordings, I tried every trick in the book and got nada.
Yeah.
Hey, you gotta have some null readings, or your data's probably suspect.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Yeah.
So, boys, it's been over 2 hours.
Is it?
Yes.
Time flies.
I got 207 on my meter.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I see that.
So,
I was told, Anthony.
Minutes, please.
Anthony, they told me you were going to be a good time, and you did not disappoint. Thank you, sir.
It's flown by, but I'm just like, it's been 2 hours, so and at least in the next 10 minutes, can we?
Yeah, we can do that.
Thank you.
I don't know how good I'm good for tonight. I probably won't hang around for conversation after the show because I'm fading. To be honest, I am starting to fade. I've had a very long day. I only slept about 3 hours last night. So, Anthony, tell people toward this end of the show where they can find you, contact you, talk with you, see some more of your drawings. Where do you keep all that?
They can look on my my YouTube page, Seekers Chronicles Paranormal Historians. It's my YouTube page, that, and then also Anthony Simonelli YouTube page. They could find me on Facebook as Anthony Simonelli or Seekers Chronicles. Also, the supernatural sketch artist. They can find me on that also on Facebook. I'm going to be doing a lot of Paracons, and I'm going to be speaking at some stuff. On Monday, I'm going to be speaking at the Shanley Hotel with a meetup group. So if they want to find me, Facebook or YouTube, they can find me on either one. That's pretty much my best platforms. I've been posting stuff on Instagram also, so I'm not. But I on Instagram, I'm a supernatural spectator. So if they want to find me somewhere, and like I said, friend me on Facebook, and if you're going to friend me on Facebook, just type where you heard me, or because I've been getting so many people that prove on Facebook, and all of a sudden they're selling jewelry, or they're trying to sell something, or they're political. I'm not into all that political stuff too, so they could find me those ways through Facebook or whatever. So this supernatural sketch artist on your Facebook is I'm always on that, or Anthony Simonelli on Facebook also.
Okay, I got two questions about Paracons. Have you got any upcoming? And what do you do when you go to a Paracon? Do you just walk around and talk to people, or do you get a table and maybe show people drawings or something?
What I do is I get a spot and I put stands up, and I have all my pictures on so people could come in.
Cool.
And every one of my pictures, and like I tell everybody that comes in, has a story behind it, how I seen it, and what I seen, and where it was, and everything. So at the Paracons, I'm going to be the cryptic, the New Jersey cryptic and paranormal. That's coming in June. I'm going to be Gettysburg Battlefield Bash in July. In August, I'm going to be at the Hollow. It's called the Hollow Paracon and Art Festival and Film Festival. That's going to be, and I'm actually going to be teaching a class on spirit art there. Then the following week, I'm going to be at the Parajam in Gettysburg, the Gettysburg Parajam. That's another thing I'm going to be at. And then after that, in September, I'm going to be in Massachusetts at, it's called Fairies and the Arts. It's, they contacted me, and it sounds interesting. So the fairies and the fairies, they're actually going to have a hunt with the fairies. One of our friends, Andrew, actually wrote a bunch of books about fairies, and he comes from Ireland, and how the different things, how their legends came over here and stuff like that. So I'm going to be a bunch of little. Those are the Paracons I'm going to be in. They're all on the East Coast, so then New Jersey and Pennsylvania, pretty much. New York doesn't do much of these things, so I come across. That's affordable, more or less.
Well, you heard it, folks. If you want to go to these Paracons, he was mentioning it. I'm sure you'll come up. You'll be glad to shake somebody's hand. They want to shake your hand and look at your art.
Yeah, I welcome people. I welcome people at my table all the time. As you notice tonight, I am a talker. And they could come and, I mean, the show, the Seekers Chronicles Paranormal Historians, Tuesday nights. It's a live show. We got an audience that comes on and asks questions and everything. It's on ERRT Radio. That's our network. That's a YouTube channel, and Seekers Chronicles Paranormal Historians YouTube channel. So you can pick us up on that, or if you get me on Facebook, I throw it on Facebook also. There's other platforms I throw on. But yeah, and then you can hear me talk more. Hey, you can hear me talk. Yeah.
All right, Gwen, you want to come back in and y'all gonna talk about? I believe Gwen's going to be on your show.
Yes.
I will
She's
be
gonna
there
on
Tuesday.
nights.
Yeah.
So what's the date? That's the. I got you written down. Real important.
It's this Tuesday coming, so it's
The 21st.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's gonna be on. It's gonna be a great guest, and it's what's good about that. You don't have to do no producing. All you can do is sit back.
I know. I'm gonna be like, what do I do? What do I do?
So I'll be running the show. We have a producer on the show, the guy Bobby, but I'll be running with pictures and everything on the show.
Cool.
So if you want to send me any pictures, hey, you're more than welcome to.
I might. I think I got one from me and you last year.
Yeah, I remember we got a picture at the Bash.
Yeah, we did. Everybody was out in the rain. Me and you were not.
That was a crazy show. All of a sudden, like the skies opened up, and then it stopped, and then next thing you know, it's like 3:00 in the morning, and Batman is dancing on the Batmobile with no shirt on.
Yes. Matter of fact, I'm and this is live, and I'm probably gonna get dinged for this, but I was standing in the bar and everybody was karaokeing, and I looked over and Batman's standing right in front of me, and he but he pulls the top half of not his mask, but his shirt off, and I'm like, what the hell?
And he's ripped. That guy, from wearing that suit, he must sweat down, and he's kind of muscular, I guess, from the suit, and he's dancing on the car, and all the girls are all jumping around and everything, and I'm sitting in the back. I'm feeling good. I have my beer and my cigars.
He did.
Just watching the show with all these people going nuts, But it was wild.
It was.
Women go wild over a man's pecs.
Yeah. Well, especially if he's masked.
Mm-hmm.
He left his mask on. He's dancing and stuff, and the women don't want to see the face. They just want to see the cuts on the old belly.
I don't think he's going to be there this year.
A six-pack and dancing pecs.
Yeah, that's what I want to see. He's not going to be there this year?
I don't think so. We had Pam and Stephen on Monday, and I think now I may be wrong. He may be there, but they were saying talking about who was going to be there. And that
Hey.
Yeah, his wife was like, get off this thing.
I'm being assaulted by my wife here.
He's like, enough. Well, she likes your pecs. See that?
Yeah, there you go. He's got that long hair.
Yeah, the hair down, everything. Like my hair's still up. Yeah,
my hair's down like always, but yeah,
bald on the top, but hair in the back. That's how I keep it. But yeah, this year should be fun. It was always fun there. Like I said, this year I'm going to be in town. So
one thing I didn't ask you, Anthony, have you had a cryptid or a UFO experience?
Well, I told you about at the I had one, the cryptic at the it was Oyster Bay. It was like a little. Can I show you this one? It's a little creature.
I don't think you showed me that one.
Okay, it was in Oyster Bay, and it was behind an old factory, and it's a cemetery back there that house the African Americans from the Civil War, and they there's a bunch of them that's buried there. Well, I was up on the hill there, and little pebbles like the other thing was being tossed at me. So I guess something doesn't want me up here. So I start walking down the hill. I start walking down on the main road, and I got my night vision camera with the light on it. And ends up that my camera dies and my light dies at the same time.
Oh,
that's weird.
And I'm looking, I'm like, and I bring my camera down, and I would look up, and I see this creature get up from behind this stone and run into the woods. He was like the size of maybe a 5-year-old, but it was gray, all hair, all gray.
what is the name of those?
Puckroaches,
Oh my
something
goodness.
like that.
Yes, it's something like that. Did you see?
Yeah.
You didn't see. I guess you didn't see teeth or anything because you're supposed to have those little sharp teeth.
Yeah, no, this thing stood up and ran into the woods, but it ran like this into the woods, like it was running into the woods, and it disappeared. And I'm like, everybody, pitches, 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 and every time somebody got, nobody's seen it, and they nobody else got seen it. So of course I drew the picture of it, and that was, I seen black-eyed children there and everything in that location. So that was an interesting location. This was like 4:00 in the morning, and
Lord.
it's like, whoa, check that was crazy. The UFO experience, I experienced it back in, I think it was 1978. New York had a blackout that same night. I was coming out where I was in, it was my old block, 66th Street, and the block goes up, and there's an avenue going this way. The block goes up this way. This is Myrtle Avenue, and there's stores on Myrtle Avenue, and there's stores on my corner, and so you're coming up the block this way. All right. So I was in a pizza place that was on Myrtle Avenue. I come out of the pizza place, and I see a light going down my block. It looked like one of those helicopter lights, a light going up the block.
Yeah.
No helicopter. I didn't see a helicopter. I seen like a little thing. I don't know how they even described it. It wasn't like even a disc. It was like a line, and it was going up my block. So I'm like, what the? So I go running up the block, and all my friends, I went to my friends, and back in the 70s, nobody had air conditioning. Nobody had anything. So everybody used to sit on their stoop. You know what a stoop is?
Small porch.
I do. Mm-hmm.
It's a stairs in front of your house. That's what we call stoop.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, I told people this story, and they're like, what's a stoop? So it's a stairs in front of your house. So it's, people, that's where everybody sit, or they used to bring out beach chairs and they sit outside. And the whole block is out now. So this thing goes down a block, and everybody's like, what was that? And I'm going, did you see that? And everybody's like, see. I went up to my parents, my grandparents on the other side, and my mother and stuff. I asked them the same thing. Did you see that? Did you see that? And they're like, we don't know what that was. And I was like, wow, that was crazy. All of a sudden, I said, Mom, you seen that? And she goes, seen what? Everybody forgot what they just seen.
Wow.
Okay. I went back to my friends and said, you guys seen what? The light going down the block. You guys I just went to you, and you said you didn't know what it was. What are you talking about? Everybody that got hit with this light, first they were confused, and then they didn't see nothing.
Oh, wow.
Kind of like a Men in Black thing.
That's what I was thinking, Len. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's weird because I told you, cemeteries on the corner of my of that block, there's a cemetery, and that light went into the cemetery and disappeared. Just,
Oh, wow.
Gone. So that would happen. And then a couple hours later, New York had a blackout. One of the power stations had a lightning hit it.
Oh.
And there was no lightning that night. There was no rain and nothing. Lightning hit it.
That's what I was about to ask. Yeah.
I don't know if it had something to do with the UFO, the sighting I seen, or maybe it's a coincidence, but it was crazy. Nobody remembered that. And it ended up having a blackout. We had a blackout for like a couple of days. I mean, down parts of Brooklyn, they were rioting. They were looting the building. They were looting and everything.
Oh, wow.
That was a crazy time. But yeah, it was something that was like. So that was my pretty much my UFO, and then lost time. I was coming back from investigation, and I just lost time from like exit 63 to 48 after I seen a lightning strike across the sky. I have no idea how I got there, and it was pouring rain.
Anthony, have you seen my episode on Monster Quest?
No, I didn't see. I when I read your thing, I said, "Oh, she's on Monster Quest," and I didn't see it, but I will.
It's about I'll just say it's about a time slip, or actually it's a little different. And it's not the whole story. My whole stories, they just, they give you little pieces of time and they reenact it. And the reenact was really good, but you need to watch that. If you've had that happen to you, you need to watch it. You really do.
Okay. Yeah, that was crazy.
Mhm.
I'm in this such a long time, and I investigate everywhere. And when you get yourself outside, you're going to see other stuff besides spirits, and
Yep.
you're opening yourself up to other things.
Yes.
Right.
So it doesn't matter what you're going to be doing. And it's like I'm going there for ghosts, and I'm seeing this little thing running out of the woods. This little gray, hairy thing running up. Or when I was a kid, I just coming out of a pizza place, and I see this thing going down the block. And then people they're all confused. And all of a sudden, then after that, they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like,
that's nuts.
And of course, I didn't bring that up.
Did the light touch you? Did everybody at touch maybe lose their memory?
Yeah.
Or?
As the light went down, I wasn't on the block. I was coming out of a pizza place when I seen it up ahead of me.
Okay.
Already going down the block.
Right.
So I don't know if we went down Myrtle area. I don't know if we hit anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
All I seen was going down the block and then disappearing into the cemetery. And
that would be worth researching right there. Yeah.
Yeah, really.
And you know something? I didn't bring that up for years because, people thought I was crazy because of paranormal.
Honey, I figured out probably about 6 years ago, I guess. I just said, you know what? I don't care what people think anymore. And now, let's just say my gifts have blown up because I don't care anymore. And I don't care if people know. And it just.
I stopped caring a long time ago. You know, it's like, you believe me, I'm not here to prove to you there's ghosts. I'm not here to prove to you UFOs or any Bigfoot. I'm not here to prove that to you. This is my experience. If you want to see it, you see it. Like my drawings, I didn't start showing them until like 3 years ago because I didn't think anybody had any interest in it. And my friend Richard Marshall was doing a show, and he was doing his spirit eye. He goes, I'm doing a show at the Ritz Theater. And I said, I do some of that. And I showed him a couple of my pictures. He goes, you got to do the show with me. I sat around ripping pictures out of books and putting them into frames.
Nice.
And brought them. I brought over 100 some odd pictures. You ever carry 100 frames with pictures in it?
Oh, why don't you get some of those
heavy, bulky,
clear pages? You know what I'm talking about for the books, the clear pages?
Like this.
Yeah, I forget what yes, I thought that's what you had now. Yeah.
That's what I have now.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I'm going to be in an art show in May. I got to start getting my stuff together and drop it off. I'm going to be in an art show. I was in the show last year, and one of my pictures hit it. Like they gave me an honorary mention on one of my pictures of a spirit in Gettysburg. I
got to see some of your art last year. It was busy and crowded, so I didn't get to see everything, of course, but I did get to stop by for a minute.
That is some very excellent artwork.
Yeah,
very excellent.
Thank you. I'm still criticized. I still criticize my stuff, and people are like, "That's so good." I'm like, but anybody draws always criticizes their own stuff. So now I'm starting. Monday, I'm going to be at the Shanley, and I'm going to be giving a class on spirit art.
Oh, nice.
I tried it. We did this show a week ago, 2 weeks ago. We did in Morristown. We do this Morristown. It's a historic society, and we do their buildings to collect money for them. It's like a fundraiser stuff. And I actually gave 3 classes. They had like 3 groups come in, and I gave out clipboards with pencils and have them draw. And I gave them little tips how to draw and how to come and go spirit, have them close their eyes and stuff like that. So so I'm starting to give class some kind of art on that.
That's cool. It's very cool. Well, I know Len's fading.
Yes.
Yeah, he's kind of fading and be starting the show too.
Yeah, I was
tired.
Today's been a struggle. I've been working on this house for 4 days in a row, and that's not a good thing for somebody who will be 70 this summer.
Oh,
You gotta
no.
take it easy, Lynn. You got to go to New Orleans. I get to meet Lynn in person for the first time in New Orleans.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
What time in August?
The first of what was is first and 2nd of August. Of course, it actually starts on July 30th.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, your birthday is what? July? When you said you turn 70 in August?
Third.
August 3rd. Okay, I'm the 13th.
Oh, July? Whoa.
August 13th.
August the 13th. Okay.
August 13th. Okay.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a July person. I'm an August person. I'm a
I'm
Leo.
a December baby. So
A December, like my wife's, December 2nd.
mine's 16th. So yeah.
Yeah, you get 2 gifts. Okay. You get 2 gifts. One for Christmas and one for your birthday,
I hated it being that way though, but we can talk about that Tuesday. Lynn's got to get off before we call him. He's gonna fall over.
Yeah, we gone 2.5 hours and about 40 seconds now.
All right. Well,
45
let's. Why don't I pop you in the back, Anthony, and I will too, and then Lynn can and we'll be done. How about that?
Okay, so you pop me in the back. We're gonna leave.
Yeah, we're gonna go. Tell everybody good night. I'm gonna pop myself back.
Y'all can have a post show without me.
Yeah, I got to get off too, so I know how that is.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all right.
My mom's actually messaging me for some reason, so.
I got to get up early anyway to get my grandson at 5 o'clock in the morning. So.
Ooh, okay. All right. Well, we'll pop in the back.
Anthony, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for being on the show. You lived up to expectations. You are a fantastic guest. Thank you for being so.
Thank you for being you. I enjoyed it. We'll meet one day.
Yeah, we'll meet one day.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll have to be on the show some other time when I'm a little bit more mean.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, we all have those nights. I'm telling you. I do a show every week live, and I'm glad I got 2 other hosts on the show with me, because sometimes I'm like, let them talk,
Mm-hmm.
I always get a woman host because they can talk more than you. So.
Yeah, women talk your head off.
Lynn, you can talk too. Don't.
I know I could do some damage myself.
All right, guys. Let's tell everybody good night. Lynn, you got your thing up. Good night, everybody.
Good night, Anthony. Thank you, everybody, for showing. Thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you, everybody, for watching.
All right.
Thank you for watching. Great questions. Great questions.
All right, here we go.
Let's go to the purple. There we go. The purple.
To the purple.
And we close the door on the show.